Well, hello. Today is Thursday, and this is another episode or another live viewing broadcast. Listen, I'm already tongue tied. Okay. This is live, y'all, and the real world is live. So I can't script this. I can't make this up. My tongue is tied, and I was having a whole conversation before we came live, right? Anyway, my name is LaQuita Parks, and I am the founder and CEO of PayProV Publishing. PayProV is pain, progress, victory, because without pain, there is no progress, and without progress, there can be no victory. And thank you guys for joining us for another day, another episode of My Heart on Pages. And I have a special guest here with me, and I am so excited about authors and what they're doing and what the why is behind their story. So today we're going to talk all things Crystal. All things Crystal. And Crystal has an amazing book. So Crystal appeared on one of my podcasts, the My Heart on Pages podcast show, and we talked a lot about her book, but you have another book coming out. So before we get started, I would like for you to tell us who you are and where you're from, and then tell us about your book. So we're going to talk today about Speak Up. We're going to talk about Speak Up, Speak Out. There's so much going on in the world. Let's just move COVID to the side for a minute, okay?
Delete
COVID,
it from the conversation.
let's just delete
Understood.
COVID from the conversation, okay? So we know that it's here, and my gut tells me that it ain't going nowhere no time soon. But there's
I
so
agree.
many other things going on in the world. And before we get into that discussion, Crystal, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the listeners, tell all these million people who are listening who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into our conversation.
Okay, sounds great. Well, hey listeners, my name is Crystal Mungle, Crystal M the author on Instagram. I'm an author from Charlotte, North Carolina. I write poetry. I am in the process of branching out and writing some short fiction, anything creative writing. I'm the person that's doing that and, working on it from, my perspective and my knowledge. I am here to talk about Speak Up, which is what I call one of my book babies, my first book baby, which is a collection of poetry, mainly detailing the story really of my life. I'll also be sharing some excerpts from my new book, What I Meant to Say, which is another collection of poetry. This one is kind of more detailing current events, like you were saying, Laquita, just current events, and kind of what's been on my mind lately concerning what's going on in the world. But I also kind of throw it back to some lovey-dovey poems. I have a chapter about romance, which in poetry you have to write about love and romance. It's just a part. It's a part of that life. But yeah, I'm excited to have another good conversation and just see what we talk about today.
Awesome. I like that. What I meant to say, I love that title.
What I meant to say
What I,
was,
what I meant to say, you can take that all the way to the bank, cash a check, and bring it back home. That I love that title because in the world there are so many miscommunication. There's a lot of miscommunication going on, and that's why when I don't necessarily like texting
Mhm.
because you get things misconstrued. You can
I
say
agree.
something and it's like, okay, that is not what I meant to say,
You
and you
see,
wait.
and that was my premise for this title. It's kind
I
of, it
was
makes
going
me
to
think
ask you
of,
that.
I'm that person that, let's say you get into an argument with somebody. It could be, just a disagreement. And I'm that person that's like, dang, I can't think of anything to say. And 2 days later, oh
You're
yeah,
like,
I thought of something to say. This is what I meant to say in this book. Like my first book, Speak Up, I told you about me. But what I meant to say is I got some more things that I want to talk about. So yeah,
okay,
definitely that's the premise for the title.
that's one of those. That's one of those 2 days later. Okay, let me call you back. Let's continue the conversation. And I'm one that says, okay, let me I want to circle back to something. Or there was something that you said or something that I said that what I meant to say was, let's just kind of, we're not finished, this conversation
We're
is not
not we're
over.
not done.
We're
Yeah,
not
it's not done. It's not
I
done
like
yet.
that. I like that. So let's talk about Speak Out. I said speak out to speak up. Let's talk
Speak
about
up.
Speak Up. I love your cover. And we talked a lot about your
Mhm.
cover, because it has the. Do you have your copy of your book?
I do. I'm like, let me, if you
Yes.
can see
And I
it.
love, I commented on the red lips. I love the red lips because it brings attention. And your book is basically black. It's basically black and white. It has pink, but then the is that pink or red? With then the
It's like a maroon type of
yeah,
well, magenta. Magenta
magenta,
is that
magenta,
color.
a
Mhm.
twist between the two. And but then the lips say, "Hey, listen to me." It brings attention, so it's like, "Listen to me, listen to me."
Mhm.
So I love that, and it's a very attractive cover. So in everything that's going on in the world, there are people screaming because nobody heard them. They were not able to speak up.
I
Every
agree. I
time,
mean, it's
I'm
definitely been a whole bunch of reasons to speak up lately.
absolutely every time I turn on the television, almost at least for the last several months, this year, there's been another shooting. I was talking to a good friend of mine on the phone, and I'm minding my business, she minding her business, and we're in the car. I'm driving, she's driving, and she was like, wait a minute. No, I think she had just gotten home from the grocery store. She was like, there was another shooting. And I was like, what do you mean? And this was in Chicago. And somebody
Mhm.
randomly shooting from the top of a building. And it's like, what is going on? What goes on in the mind of a person that they want to do harm to another person? They're definitely bottling some things up inside, not having the opportunity, or not taking the opportunity, or too afraid, or whatever the reason is, to speak up. Bullies. I shared my bully story with a group of kids. I do a creative writing class, and I have about between 60 to 75, 80 kids in the class, because I have 4 centers. And I shared my
Mhm.
bully story with them. And when I was being bullied, I didn't understand that I could speak up. And sometimes speaking up, you let them know you have a voice, and sometimes they'll leave you alone. And so I teach children who appear to be the target. Just
Mhm.
speak up, say, leave me alone.
And
Don't.
it takes a lot of courage because
It
I'll be the
does.
first to tell you that like I said, I think I said this before, that I do consider myself an introvert.
Yeah.
And sometimes, for certain other people, or based off their household, maybe how they grew up, their
Hmm.
parents, you had to speak up for yourself, but for other
Hmm.
people that may not be the natural instinct. And so you do, but it's a learning process. And you have to understand that sometimes if you don't speak up, you're A, missing out on opportunities, and B, people will try to take advantage of you. They try to step on you. And I don't want anybody stepping on me. So,
Exactly.
if it means I
Exactly.
have to speak up, and
Exactly.
sometimes you even have to repeat it twice, more
Yes, and
than
we have
once.
conversation. We have conversation, and sometimes those conversations start like, okay, so I'm not a door, I'm not a doormat or floor mat. So this is not what we're doing. And because sometimes when you're quiet, and believe it or not, I used to be quiet, y'all. I was very shy. I would not talk. I was very, very quiet. My sister, when I was bullied, I didn't go, I didn't want them to bully me. So I would just hang around. Here I am, crippled girl on crutches. I would just hang around at the station for 2 hours until I was sure that they were gone. They would take the bus. So I would just hang around, well, maybe an hour and a half. And my mom finally sent my sister to say, well, what's going on? Why is it taking you so long to get home? So she had my sister to wait on me. And that's how they found out that I was being bullied. I didn't speak up. I didn't speak out. I didn't even tell my mom. I didn't tell anybody. And I didn't have to suffer through that if I had just use my voice. And so I like the fact that you use your voice. And sometimes when we can't do it, if I can't talk to you, or I don't have the courage to talk to you, you can always take pen and put it to paper, and you can say
That's
whatever it is you need to say. So
I'm
how did
about to snap because that's a huge speaking point right there. Write it down, and it's even if you're not comfortable enough at the time to share it with the person, at least you've gotten it out. You've gotten it out
yes,
somewhere to where it's
yes.
not just floating around in your feelings, your emotions in your head. So
And sometimes you have
that's
to
a
get
huge
it
point.
out, because sometimes when it's floating around in there, there's nowhere to process it. So we have a lot going on. It's a lot going on. You got things coming at you left and right. Things not good at home. Things not good at school. Things not good at work. Wherever your situation is, you got to get it out, because if you don't get it out, you don't have anybody to bounce it off of. So for somebody to either tell you, hey, I think there's, let's go over here and you're thinking, let's talk this out, or you're right in line with what you're thinking, or even if it's directed at a person and say, okay, you know what, I didn't know you felt that way. So it's always better to get it out, because I'm convinced all of these shootings, all of this anger, all of this hatred, it's because it's all these things bubbling inside, and it doesn't have anywhere to come out. And it comes out
Mm-hmm.
and it explodes. And typically when things explode, there is collateral damage, a
I
lot of
agree.
damage.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with the name um, Speak Up? And why the cover? Why that cover?
Mm-hmm.
What was the
Um,
motivation for the cover?
yeah, so for the first question, Speak Up, that was actually a title that was created. I had a book during my process of writing. I've written poetry for probably like 10 years. I'm an adult now, but
Well,
I've
you
written
always
poetry since middle school.
have you always wanted to be a writer or an
I
author?
have, but to be honest, as somebody like a young kid coming from the hood and a family with low income, I went to school when I was in college. For a period of time, I was an English major and an accounting major.
Hmm.
And so I always kind of had the initiative to be like, I love writing, but honestly, at the end of the day, I need a career that's going to pay my bills. And I think writing can get there eventually, but as
Take
my
time.
a backup plan. But in the meantime, I had to,
Unless you're Oprah.
I had to
Unless
get,
you're Oprah.
yeah, unless you're Oprah or yeah,
You know.
you're plugged in like that. But yeah, that it's always been a passion of mine. But
Okay.
going back to Speak Up, so I had a book mentor that helped me to publish Speak Up, and she was also a personal friend, and she was like, you know what, Crystal, I always thought you were quiet. She was like, I think this title Speak Up would fit you, because sometimes it's like when you talk, when you're somebody that is not normally accustomed to talking, or people not necessarily talking, but sometimes people don't hear you. And
Right.
she was like, you tell somebody something and it's kind of like, huh, like, what did you say? Can you speak up a little bit?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so that's where the title came from. And I got so excited I forgot the second question.
The cover. The cover. What was the
Oh, the
motive?
cover. So the lips, I mean, your mouth and Speak Up, it just kind of went together. As far as some of the words on there, it just kind of was used to express what the poetry was about. To me, I'm a very honest and raw person. I feel like I have no filter. I don't have a disrespectful filter, but I just have no filter. When it comes to me sharing, stories that I've learned, my experience, I'm just gonna tell
Mhm.
you, hey, this is what I went through. This is how I
Mhm.
experienced it. And so those are some of the words that are on there. I also have, information about, well, words like life and growth. To me, this book was really therapeutic. Like I said, it's mainly detailing a lot of things that I went through in my life, whether it be, romance, relationships with my family. So just, being able to, look at poetry that I've written, maybe some of these poems are a few years old, and to look back and
Mhm.
say, hey, look where I came from.
Yeah.
And so that's really what inspired, the words that are on there. But the lips, I just said, hey, like, speak up. You have to use your mouth. You got to use your voice
Mhm.
to, speak up and, advocate for yourself. Like, if you advocate for no one else, you have to advocate for yourself. And so that's really what,
I love that.
created the cover that
I
led
love
to
that.
that creation.
It's funny today. In one of my classes that I was teaching, there were about 25 kids in there, and when I came in, they were all over the place, and they were yelling and screaming and running, and so I stood at the entrance, because the understanding is when you see me coming down that corridor, you can see me. When you see me come through that door, get right on. You know what I'm saying? Start putting your things up,
Yes.
whatever you're working on. So I just stood there and I watched and I observed the screaming, and somebody was fighting, and it was just because it's kids from the hood. It was just a total mess. So I stood there until finally somebody was like, "Hey, she's waiting." And it was all of this. So I put them in groups and said, okay, you got make up a story. We went through the whole process of making up a story off the top of your head. How can you do it? What would your story start with? The whole nine. And so I put them in groups, and each group had to go to their space and come up with a story. So when they came back together, you're the audience and you're the stage. So I actually have it on video. I said, okay, so start your story. Once upon a time. I said, wait, I can't hear you. Speak up. Once upon a time. I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So I turned the camera off because I was recording, and I told them I was going to record. I said, are you guys shy? And some of them were
I'm
like,
like, in this generation, I don't know if they shy anymore.
yeah.
It's
I
like,
was like, wait. I was like, so when I came down the corridor, I heard you guys before I came through the door and screaming and yelling and fighting and all this. And now you get here and it's your time to shine. And you can barely speak above a whisper. I said you have to speak up. So it's funny because it depends. So when the cameras are rolling, sometimes, and I have people all the time on this platform saying, you're going to give the questions, or what are we? And I was like, it's just like a conversation. I'm your girlfriend. We having conversations. This is, your best friend. We're sipping on some tea, and we're just having a conversation because I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Okay, so
yes.
so it's important in what we
I'm,
do,
I'm
especially
sorry if you
people like
hear any
this.
thunder. If you hear Mother Nature in the background, excuse me.
Oh,
It's
it's
thundering
okay.
a
We
little
make
bit.
no, we do not apologize for Mother Nature because this is live, y'all. This is live and it's
Live,
fine.
we live.
We live, y'all. We live. But I like that. I like this. I like that you took, okay, you know what, you're introvert, so I'm quiet, but I got some things that I got in my head that I want to get out. And I want to share these things. So let me share them. And you can come out and share them. And what I like about the process is that nobody, like we're talking and I'm interrupting you. We're talking, call and response, talking, answering questions. When you're
Hmm.
writing, nobody can interrupt you. The only thing that interrupts you is your own thought, and you can keep going, and it's yours. And if you want to share it, you share it.
Hmm.
I wrote, I kept journals, and I am a proponent of note taking and journaling. And when you grow, though, and you look
That's
back
the
at your
part when
story,
you journal, yes, and you
yes,
see that growth, like I think you
yes,
said earlier, writing it down. And I
exactly.
mean, yeah, it's like, some of this and getting it out of your head, because some stuff I look back and I'm just like, I was really tripping over this. Like, I was really having a hard time dealing with this.
Right.
And it's like, the me now, the version of me now, I'm like, oh, I know how to solve that
Like, I
immediately.
got my
And
grown
but
person on.
yeah,
Grown.
but
I burnt
it's a
journals.
learning lesson.
It
It's a learning
is.
lesson, and
It is.
definitely what you're talking about, speaking to the youth, that's something that I want to branch out into, because I think a lot of times that they think that things are a little bit things happen automatically,
Oh yeah.
you
Oh yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
instantly. And it's like, for some of the lessons that you have to learn in life, you're not going to get it the first time. You may not even get it the second time or the third time. But,
Right.
eventually, if you keep trying, then you will be successful, or, overcome whatever things that, you think you may not be able to. So definitely the
Yeah.
fact that you're helping the youth and helping them discover like their creative genes. Like, I mean, yes, that's awesome.
It's I'm waiting to see what their stories are going to look like because I gave them a challenge. And unfortunately, we live in a world, and even you're 27, you're the same age as my daughter. When I was raising my children and when you were coming up, it was still a different vibe. Today, the children, if I say no, you
Oh,
can't
I'm
have this.
sorry. Hold on. I'm
Okay.
sorry. 1 second.
Okay. So Crystal had an emergency. She had to step away, but we're live, guys. So I apologize for that. So we're talking about speaking up, speaking out, using your voice to share what's going on. Sometimes we have things going on and we hide them, we keep them inside. And that's not always a great thing. So if you don't want to write it down, find somebody that you trust that you can talk to that you can go through whatever you're going through and they can help you through it. Okay. So as you go through that, then know that when you're writing, then it helps. Journaling helps. And what I was saying is, there was, when, if I say, no, you can't have this, or no, you can't participate in this, you have young people who in this group, they were just having a fit. So I'm observing, and they've got the instructions. I'm observing, okay, this is the exercise we're going to do. We're and I got to spend 20 minutes trying to get them to get their get right together, right? And so there's one little
Yes.
guy, the week before, he tosses, I don't know how he did it. All I know is that I saw a water bottle come flying across the room. And so he got pulled out of the room. They pulled him out of the room. So he said he didn't throw, the director said, you threw a water bottle. I didn't throw it. I flipped it. She was like, same concept. What's the difference? So today he gets angry because I didn't call his group to present. And so he kicks the chair. And I said, so what did the chair do? Did the chair do something to you? And he said, no. Well, why are you angry? Because I didn't get called. And I said, okay, now I still didn't call him. And as I was leaving, he had the nerve to ask me how he behaved. And I said, you definitely behaved better than last week, but you did not behave well because you kicked the chair. So instead of taking all this frustration out on things and people, you have a journal, use it, write, and speak out your frustrations in here. And I promise you it'll be better received than you acting out. And that's what's going on in the world. We have all these young
Hmm.
people who haven't spoke out. They don't know, they probably have, a lot of them probably have not been encouraged to, because there's the, when you come home, be quiet, I'm tired, and you go play a video game or go watch television. So you can't really get it out. So I
Yes.
like,
Well, first, I would love to comment on it. I'm sorry for that interruption. Like, I had a life
I
moment,
was
so
like, she
please,
had
y'all
an
guys,
emergency,
extend me
y'all.
some
This is
grace.
life. This is life. Life happens.
Extend me some
Life,
grace. I had a life
we
moment.
definitely need break.
But yeah, I would be interested to see what that story is because, just from the perspective, I'm thinking back in school, I've done some, participations and worked within the school system as well. And it's usually sometimes, well, a lot of times, the troubled student, the student that has maybe some behavioral problems, like there's something deeper than that. It doesn't
Oh yeah.
necessarily mean there's something going on at home. Maybe that person just doesn't know how to identify and really like regulate, understand their emotions.
Hmm. Hmm.
So definitely I would be interested to see how, like, what kind of story is this person writing, or what type of journal entries do
Yes.
they have? Because obviously it's something disturbing them. Maybe it's being unheard. That's a big one for me. Is sometimes I feel like I was saying earlier, sometimes you got to repeat yourself. And I'm the
Hmm.
type of person that's like, well, I don't want to repeat myself. I'm going to just do it. I'm going to just do it.
Right.
I'm
I'm
going to
not
just
going to
do
say this
whatever I need
anymore.
to
I'm
do
not
for
saying this
myself. Or
anymore.
I'm
This,
just going to be like, well, obviously they didn't want to hear what I have to say. Yeah.
so
And
let
so,
me
yeah,
ask
when
you a
you feel
question.
that way when you're not being picked.
Let me
Hmm.
ask you a question. And it's funny because he was angry because he wasn't picked. And it took a minute for him to get his get right together, because
Hmm.
he was fighting. He started the fighting, and luckily he kind of tried to pull himself away a little bit, and the other person kept going, so that person got pulled out. And so it took a while to get him together. So one of the things, I'm doing a training for an organization in Minnesota. And one of the things that the director who's in my training, I'm teaching the training, said was, people say the children are our future. He was like,
Hmm.
but they say it, but they don't follow through. And he said, young people don't get respect. They are not respected. What do you think about that? Do you agree with that?
Well, I feel like I'm from that generation. You have to earn respect to get respect. But
You
I
still
mean,
too young, but you still a little bit of in the old
so
school.
so yeah, I'm kind of like, I consider myself a hybrid. I'm a little part of this generation and a little part of the previous one. So I feel like you do have to earn respect, but I think it's also that it's a lack of understanding and a lack of wanting to understand from
Mhm.
older peers.
Yeah.
Well, for parents,
Mhm.
because I think about, phones and parents oftentimes will say, "Hey, you're on your phone all the time. What are you doing?" Mom, I can make money on my phone. I'm doing this on my phone, and I
Right.
have people interested in what I want to talk about. And so a lot of times it can be misunderstanding. And for that fact, parents don't respect their kids.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
also a lot of nature showing out.
That's
But a
okay.
lot a lot of the experiences that kids have today, the parents have no relation to. They don't understand because they've never been through it. So how can they respect something that they really don't understand?
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
think that's really weird that you have to be open and you have to be willing to learn. Let
Oh,
allow
no.
your kids to teach you something. Even if you're a parent, you don't know everything, you don't know it all.
And
And
parents
just
don't
even as
get
an
upset.
adult, yeah.
How are parents, how are you upset about your children being on the devices that you provided to them? Okay.
uh,
How is that? How is that? I like that we're living in a generation, and here's the thing, they are our future, no matter how we shake it. We're all gonna die one day, but we're gonna get old, and
mhm.
they're gonna have to be responsible for making decisions, making the laws, policing, all of those things that people are doing now. As the cycle goes, the cycle has to continue. So as some of us go out, some of us have to come in and take our places. So it's
Yes.
important. We can't just have, it's like the old people teach the young people, and the young people have to be willing to learn, just like the older people have to be willing to know that it's not just this one way, especially with
You have to
technology.
you have to meet them where they at. Just
You have to meet
by
them where
for
they are.
both parties, you have to meet me where I'm
Exactly.
at to be
Exactly.
able to understand. You have bring your knowledge, but also bring that perspective of, okay, I can learn something else as well from them. And it's funny that you mentioned. I don't want to get too political, but it's funny that you mentioned, like, kids are our future. And I'm really excited for the day where I can see in our government and in our politics more people that are of a younger age being able to have a voice. I think, unfortunately, in our government, sometimes it's a little misleading. It doesn't represent America. A lot of the people that are in office, they don't represent
They
the
don't look.
the
Just go ahead and say it,
population.
girl.
They don't
Go
they
ahead.
don't they don't look like
Don't look
us.
up. That's
They're
it.
they're
Go ahead.
not even they're not even my grandmother's age. They're older. They're well, some people's grandmothers, but they're 90 years old. It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
that's
And I
not the
agree.
age group. That's the
I agree.
that's the, a little bit of the past,
I
and
agree.
we
I
need the
agree.
future.
Exactly.
So
And in doing
yeah.
so, I think it's important for us to do our part. Teach them how to speak out. In this when I started this, it was a lot. It wasn't a lot when I started in my head, but then I got sick, and then it's just a lot. And there were some days, and I was like, you know what, I don't have to do this. You get to you. I remember being in school and hearing some teachers, not all, but hearing some teachers say, "I got my education. You got to get yours." So I don't.
Yes, definitely
I don't
remember
care
those
if you do this.
teachers.
Yeah, I don't care if you get it or not, and I don't ever want to be that type of person because I do
Hmm.
care. So it's a lot, but I said, you know what? We're seed planters. We've got to plant seeds. So when we're producing material, you have to produce material. I have to produce material where we know a younger person is going to come behind us, and your book might be the book that they have that's going to mold them into going to doing what they need to do, or give them, they might say, oh, I like this, I like her style, I want to do this, and they
Hmm.
have your book. I always believe, I've said it, but you've probably heard me say it before, there's always somebody waiting on the other side of your story so that they can get healing from their story. And there's always
Yes.
somebody watching. There's going to be people out of the million people watching this show. There are going to be some who's going to say, hey, you know what, I like Crystal M, the author. I like her style. I like what she's doing. Let me follow her. Because we never know what impact we're making on a person's life. So I know that Mother Nature is acting special over your
Acting
way.
the fool. If you're
Um,
in the Carolinas, you're experiencing some thunder right now,
and let us
like
know if
I
it gets
am.
too bad and you have to go. I know with that thunder and lightning that gets to be a real big headache. But if you feel up to it, And Mother
Mhm.
Nature is, not turning all your power off. I would
Not
love for you
today. Look, not
to.
today. It happened about 2 days ago, so I'm praying that does not happen again. But
Okay,
yes, I would definitely love to share some excerpts with you
please.
guys. So I guess I'll read from Speak Up because that's my book baby, and I'll read some stuff from my new book. What I meant to say was
What I meant to say,
minus the
what
was what
had
I meant
happened
to
was,
say, but what had happened was that book.
so
So
before
Speak
you read,
Up. Hmm.
Crystal, just to let you guys know, if you're just tuning in, if you're just pulling up YouTube and you're listening on Facebook, I'm LaQuita Parks, and we are talking to Crystal Monungle, and she's getting ready to read some excerpts from her book, Speak Up. And we're just talking, having a conversation about our youth and what's going on in the world and molding, and how can we mold them and guide them, so that we can prepare them. And what we really need to do is be what we really need to be doing is preparing them, to run the world, and
Yeah.
preparing them to run the government, and to be the doctors and the lawyers and the entrepreneurs and the designers and the creators. Man, we need inventors, we need poets, we need writers, we need them, because they're deleting things out of the history books, or they're throwing them away altogether. So we need to
We
create the
already know, look, history books are very inaccurate along with maps. So we gotta get these young people innovative. I mean, they are already innovators.
yes, just
A lot
pulling it
of them are. But
out.
yeah, they just gotta keep molding them and pushing them to, just grow up and continue expounding on those
Yes.
ideas they have.
So tell us what you're going to share with us.
Yes, so I'm going to share destiny. So this is kind of going along with what we've been talking about. Some people say destiny is written, you can't change it. I
Mhm.
believe that what is meant for you is for you. And yes, there things are written, things are determined, but you can always change your destiny and change your fate through the decisions that you make. So,
Awesome.
yeah, so I'll read destiny.
Okay.
All right. Prophecies scare me into the unknown, yet something familiar, all in the same breath. They stir this feeling within my soul that tells me there's something more for me. My elders would tell me, girl, there's a calling on your life. People that know me, but don't know what's stirring inside. Prophecy is so real, it takes time. But true prophecies never lie. I'm hoping and praying I don't mess this up. Whatever this fate is that's been manifested on me, I trust myself and know this knowledge helps guide the way for what I've already known to be true. Confirming, I knew I was different all along. Some things came easier, others hard, but each trek brought me closer to God. A crystal can shine and serve many purposes like me. I don't believe in too many coincidences, but I do believe in meaning. So, for that, I take nothing for granted, especially when I get a glimpse at the future from the gift of the present. I know my destiny has some presents, jewels to bestow upon me as long as I live out this prophecy.
I love
So,
that. I love that. So what was the motivation? And it's funny. I'm grabbing my book. I wrote a poem called Destiny that's in
mm.
my book, and I like that. I like that a lot. So what was the motivation for Destiny?
So it's like one of the main themes is talking about a prophecy. I would say from a very young or early age, I always had this desire to be able to write and
Looks like you're frozen.
I
So
think we did we lose signal
that's okay.
for
I know
a
it's
second.
storming. It's Yeah, you froze there.
Okay.
I can hear you now. I can hear you
So,
now. You froze
um,
there for a
okay, perfect. But yeah, for destiny, the main one of the main themes is having a prophecy, having a calling on your life. I think that we all have specific special gifts that sometimes it takes some people longer to figure out. I feel like writing has always been something that I've always enjoyed. And I'm like, that's going to take me the place where God has promised me, you know.
Mhm.
And speaking of having like a glimpse of my future, that's just talking about, all the strides that I'm taking. I'm hoping one day to be on, a household name in writing or poetry, and, be on the New York best time seller list. We're going to speak those things into existence because God gave me a glimpse that, hey, this is what you're here to do. This is what you're here to help others do. And, that's really the inspiration for that poem.
Oh,
It's
I
just
love
knowing
that.
there's more, knowing that your destiny is going to be fulfilled. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I like that. Who controls your destiny? You control your destiny.
Yeah.
You control your destiny. And that's what I wrote when I wrote my poem Destiny many years ago.
Hmm.
It was all about, do I control my destiny? And I wrote that, like, what does this future hold for me? Just kind of thinking what's going on, what was going on in my life at the time, going through a divorce, raising three kids as a single mother, going back raising three kids, going back to college, with
Hmm.
three kids, trying to maintain an A average because I'm an overachiever, some people might say. But it's like, what does this future hold? I know, right, girl? Snap, snap, honey, because it was not easy. It was not an easy task, girl, but I did it. So tell us another, what's another of your favorite poems?
So I'm gonna share from my new book. That was a little sneak peek for you guys. So if you're interested, again, speak up,
Oh,
which you can purchase on my website. I'll plug in towards the end of our conversation. But I'm gonna read from my new book, what I meant to say. So this will kind of be an exclusive. This is my
I love
cover. What I
that.
meant to say.
Awesome.
On this cover, there is a big old mic because I want you to hear what I'm saying in this book. So, one of my favorites from this one is called What About Black Trauma? I'm going to set you guys up. So, What About Black Trauma is basically from a chapter called Black America in my new book,
Mhm.
just kind of
Mhm.
detailing that experience we have is, whatever creed you are. I'm a Black African American woman, and this is a part of my story, a part of my experience. But yeah, I'll go ahead and read it, and it's going to address some stuff that's currently going on. So I hope you guys
Okay.
enjoy.
Awesome.
What about Black trauma? My palm is outstretched and my temples are tense. This is that same feeling I get when the world looks on at us, the Black community, gauging our reaction to the story of tragedy that have become someone's life. Reminder to tell me to write. Girl, I'm on it. I'm on it. Okay. When the world looks on at us, the Black community gauging our reaction to the series of tragedies that have become someone's life, usually ending up in settlements or injustice. You choose. Instead of us, it's a different set of human beings whose value has just been reduced. World War III is what people are calling it. Do you know what happened the last time there was widespread war? Do you know what happened this time? Will we finally become extinct like those dinosaurs? I have all these feelings and thoughts in my medulla, but still, I have hope. I still try today because I still see the future in my reach. But I'm not saying it's easy. When I see funds so easily released, but when I was in need of when I was in a financial bind, there was no sight of any money trees. I don't want to compare trauma because that's not fair. But there's something unsettling knowing my own country doesn't show me the same care, and that is Black trauma.
Wow. Wow. Snap, 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 snap. That's pretty. That's pretty deep. That's pretty deep. So I saw a lot of I saw a lot of aims. I saw a
That's
lot of
I
aims.
love me some wordplay. I love some wordplay
I
sneaking it in
saw a lot of
there.
aims at a lot of people, and I don't disagree with you. We have it. We go. There's so much going on, and it is not equal. And and here's the thing: it'll never be equal.
It
But
won't.
we all have to do our part to, when there was, we talk about, well, what do we do, what do we do, what do we do? And one of the things I see all the time, there are always the protests when there's a
Hmm.
shooting, especially when there's a shooting. I think here lately there was a shooting, a black man got shot, and they shot at him, I think 90 times, but 60 of them
They
pierced
got, yeah, they shot him 90 and they hit him 60
60
times.
times.
And
And
it's actually pretty ironic. I mean, they, well, here in in the Charlotte area, we had a similar incident. The man was Caucasian, and he was on a crazy, spree running away from the police, and it ended up resulting in him being apprehended. But people are making jokes of it, and I said I can't even find that funny when somebody
right.
just got killed and really, I mean, murdered, shot 60 times. Like, that's overkill.
Exactly.
um
What point is that not excessive? But we have, but so here's the thing: you have the people. Everybody has a position to play. I can't play
yes.
your position. Your position might be to be out on the front lines with your sign. That might be your position. But somebody has to be out there somebody has to be recording it. Somebody has to be in school getting a degree so they can become a lawmaker to make some changes. Somebody needs to be writing about it. Somebody needs to be home teaching their children what not to do. Somebody there, we all have a role to play. But I see all the time, I see all the picketing, and then after the media dies down, the news dies down, people go home. And
Hmm.
then what do you do? What do you do? We have to do more than sit in our homes and in our circles or in our communities, with our friends, and have the conversation. We have to do more than just have the conversation. We have to do something. And what's that something? What's your part? And my part is starting before the cement hardens and planting some seeds that there is something different, because right now all they see is what's going on at home. And so the
Hmm.
cement is hard in that way, and it's like, you can be better than this, you can do more than this. And here is some opportunities. And we can't say, well, there are no opportunities available. Will they be? There are. Will they be hard to get? Never said it was going to be easy.
You
you
and you
I'm
really, you
still
touched
looking
on
for
something.
opportunities, and you're looking for opportunities. So and so what are we doing? We started, and we're working toward it, and we're fighting. But what we can't do is, I can't go and grab my AK-47 or my 9 millimeter and shoot off however many rounds into somebody because somebody did something. That's not how you handle it. It can be done
You
that
and
way.
you really touched on something important. I think that, like, within the black community, is that we all have our position and our role to play. And I think a part of understanding and just a part of living is you realize you got to play the game a little bit. You have to be in the game to even be able to take a step. And sometimes we kind of get frustrated that, hey, well, I don't want to do this to begin with. It shouldn't be like this. And you
Mhm,
are totally right. How things are in life for black people, it shouldn't be like this,
mhm.
but it is. And you can't allow that to stop you from making moves, because at the end of the day, like you're stating, I mean, talking about it is one thing, but taking action is the next step. And
That's
whatever that looks like for you. For me, I'm not a person. You're right. I'm not. When you were saying you're not gonna catch me on the front lines,
right.
that's not me. I have a job in corporate America. I got to
Mhm,
get up and go to work and pay my bills on Monday morning.
mhm, mhm,
But you know what it does look like to me? Writing this poetry book,
mhm,
talking
mhm.
to my niece about what does it mean to be in Black America. She asked me, hey, what is Juneteenth? She didn't know what Juneteenth was, and I explained it to her. That's
Mhm.
what it looks like to me. And I think from a some people are just unfortunately very judgmental and expect for you to take the same steps that they're taking, but I can't do that. Those are not my steps to take.
Well,
But
sometimes
it
people,
doesn't. Yeah,
they're not even, and what I found is sometimes it's not, they're not necessarily taking those steps. They're talking about taking those steps. So
that's true. Yeah, you got the ones
you know,
that's just
it's
talking
kind of
about
like when
it.
I worked in corporate America, we were having a meeting and have another meeting, and that used to drive me crazy. What are we doing? Are we meeting to prepare for something? Are we meeting? Are we planning for something, or are we getting ready to have another meeting just for the another meeting? I don't like that. But you have to do your part. And first of all, just like you said, you got to be in the game. And how is it not being, you don't have to be physically in the game, but you at least need to do your research and know what you're fighting for. You got to know that,
Hmm.
are these your beliefs? Now, everything going on in the world is not my beliefs. It is not a part of my belief system.
Everything is
It's not
not
your
your
fight.
fight.
And I'm not jumping in on that. I'm not jumping in on it. I'm not going to start a fight about it. I'm not going to give a comment on it because it's not my fight. But what I do, what it is, whatever my fight is, whatever my platform is, then that's what I'm doing. And I like that you found a way. We have to do more than, I worked in corporate America for years, and going there, I like my job. I like the people that I worked with. That was not my calling. It was not my passion. I'm doing my passion now. I'm doing my calling now, and making it so that I create. So here's the thing, Crystal. I think I probably mentioned this to you before, and I may not have mentioned this on the show. Everybody, there's so much going on. Social media will have you climbing up the walls if you take it seriously. Okay. They are people who it's a facade. There are people doing some amazing things, and you know that they're doing those amazing things, and they're not using social media. Like, I don't use social media to brag, but I do use social media to say, here, I am over here. Here I exist. You have an option. I might be an option for you. Okay.
Hmm.
So I want you to see what I'm doing. But then there are those people who use it to parlay on the feelings and emotions of other people, and to pretend they're the great pretenders, right? So as we're doing this, as we're using this, I would see some of these things going on. I was like, wow, I want to be a part of that, because I would see it and I'm like, okay, I would like to be on this podcast. I like to tell my story because I want to tell my story to whoever's listening, right? My story of
Hmm.
walking limitations is an amazing story. And so I want to be, and I'm, I have I have the thick skin, the thick body. I'm a large woman. I have the dark skin, the curly hair, and sometimes people, if you don't have that particular look, I don't wear makeup. I'm not a plain. I'm long way from a plain Jane. But sometimes people
Hmm.
people want the shell. They don't. They want the outside. They don't want the real. And
A
so
lot of yeah,
I would
a
kind of
lot
say,
of what
hey,
we see
I want to
now
be a
is
part of
surface
this.
deep.
Yes. I'm like, I want to, I'll send a message, or, kind of got the flag waving, somebody say, hey, we're looking for this person, this person. I wave the flag. And so I said, okay, you know what? I got tired of waiting to be invited to somebody's table. So I created my own table. And now I invite people to my table because everybody's welcomed. And we all have a part to do. My part is not necessarily your part. And that's fine. That's okay, because we both have a lane. We have a lane, and I'm not going to go in your lane and you don't have to come in my lane. We can collaborate and do something together where we're still in
Hmm.
our lanes, but we are feeding to we are catering to a generation who need both of us. And that's the thing. We have talents. God gave everybody a talent, right? Some people got one
Hmm.
talent. Some people got five, six, seven. The
Some
people
people,
that
yeah,
got the one,
multi-talented.
don't be upset because you just got one. Here's the thing. People with multiple talents, they got to maneuver and finagle with all those talents. You got one to perfect. Perfect that one. And sometimes when you have that one talent, you make a bigger difference because you can focus on that one talent. So our young people, we have to make sure that we're grooming them in a productive, positive way, so that we would want to listen to them when they start making decisions based on our medication, or our
Hmm.
medical treatment. When we get old, they can't throw all of us in a home.
Don't throw
But
me in the nursing home. I don't
no,
got
no,
no kids
no,
yet, but I'm gonna tell them
no.
don't throw me in there.
Right, exactly. So we have to mold them, and we start by letting them know that we see you. We see you.
Yes, yeah. And
We
like,
see you.
we were talking about earlier, so of course social media is one of the biggest shifts and, factors in a child's life now. And like I said, a lot of it, life will have you thinking that things are instantaneous. Things are happening instantly for this person. You don't see this person fail. They're not putting their failures online and telling you how
Right.
they had to, how much money they may have lost to get where they are at, or how they had to jump in somebody's DMs and say, to try to market themselves. They don't show that
Exactly.
stuff. And
Right.
so it's very important part of their lives, and it's something that we have to address when teaching them. And also comparing, it's so hard not to compare your, like you saying, your steps are your own and my steps are mine. But if I'm
Exactly.
looking at your steps and I'm trying to follow what you're doing, then how
Right.
am I even going to reach my own
Right.
calling? How am I going to reach my potential for myself? So I think that's something that definitely, like I said, one of my goals is to try to get involved with the youth here, whether it be something I pay for out of pocket, or
Mhm.
get an official partnership with someone. I want to talk to our youth. I feel like I'm an easy person to talk to, and I can listen. So I already, I'm gonna meet them where they're at, and
I like that. And
you
let me
know,
know. I can and I can find out where you are and what resources are available. Some school systems or some group homes or something to, maybe set up something where you can go in and talk to them, because they're always looking for positive people. Especially a lot of I know here, and I'm in Georgia. There, the one thing is like, oh wow, black authors, people that
mhm.
look like me. And so to have somebody who looks like me, little chocolate girl who owns a publishing company, and I'm taking, when I go in and I have all these books, and they see all these different faces on the books, and I publish for, and I publish, it's diverse, so I publish for black, white, doesn't matter. You have a story, and I show them the books, and they like, wow. And this is, so they know books, but a lot of times they're reading books where they don't know the people. And for me, one of the things about being a publisher, I love being a publisher. I love helping people take their stories from a thought to a realization. But now, to step that up, not only do I have my the books that I publish and the stories that I know personally from my clients. Now I'm starting I have a bookcase where I'm starting books of authors that I know, and I can
Mm.
say, okay, hey, this is Crystal's book. And I can say, I know Crystal. So it isn't that I'm reading a book about somebody whose life that I don't know them, but here it is. It's reachable. And when you show children that, they like, oh wow, it becomes here. It's here in their face. And it's not something that they have to search and reach. It's
It
doable.
lets them
It's
know
doable.
that, yeah, exactly, that it's doable. And you touched on something really important. Like I said, I've loved writing, and I've always been an avid reader. And just thinking back, a lot of the stories, of course, we know in curriculum in school, a lot of them are not by black and brown authors.
Right.
And unfortunately, they just don't address stories that are unrelatable to
Mhm,
the life
mhm,
that a lot of black and brown people experience. So
mhm.
yeah, speaking to that, I mean, it's amazing to see what's happened, like in the literature game. Like, even
Yes.
though there are some books that we love, they're being banned right now. But
Right.
even the fact that people are talking about them, because it was a point where it felt like, there was a certain type of book that was being published for black authors, and now we have so much to
A
read, so
variety.
much to learn
Exactly.
about.
Exactly. So we're creating the narrative, and that's what we have to do. We have to keep creating the narrative. And so, Crystal, I tell you, this time goes by so fast. It has been such a pleasure with you being here. I am so glad that you took the time. I know it's storming. We've had a couple of technical things, but that's okay. It's live, and that's what happens when it's live. This is live, y'all, and I love that, because the audience is seeing what we're going through. We're not, not
They
trying
know
to
that this is not a real, this isn't pre-recorded, this is
exactly.
not, you're seeing everything that's happening is happening at the time that it's supposed to happen, but we're pushing
Exactly.
through, and doing what needs to be done so we can have this good conversation for you
And the
guys.
revolution is being televised. The revolution is being televised. So, again, I am LaQuita Parks. And listen, if you have a story, because I believe with all of my heart, 100% of everybody living and dead has a story. So, no matter where you are in your story writing journey, we can help you. Let me help you. Reach out to me. You can reach me at payprovipublishing.com. That's PAPROVI publishing.com. Where are you in your story writing journey? You have a story. You probably thinking, okay, I got a story, LaQuita, but I don't know how to start. I can help you get started. We can brainstorm. I love brainstorming. We can help you get started. And you may have already started writing and you find yourself stuck. I'm working on a veterans project, and I had one of the veterans send me a message today and say, I don't know where to start. Where can I start? And and quickly I just said, why did you enlist in the military? Start right there. And how has it defined your life? Would you do it again? Was it all worth it? So these are some things that you can do. Just start. We can brainstorm. And if you're stuck, we can help you get unstuck. And if you've written your book, we can read your book. We can also give you feedback. We can offer feedback to your book. And if it's ready to be published, we can help you do that too. Whatever you decide to do, whoever you decide to go with, don't not tell your story. Okay. Tell your story, because there is power in your story. Your story is impactful. Your story has the ability to affect a multitude of people just by telling your story. What we go through is not for us. It's for other people. It's to share with other people. So share, reach out to us, let us know how we can help you. And Crystal, I want to ask you, and I want to invite you to on Tuesday, the 12th. I will be hosting the
Oh,
book
I'm
slam.
sorry. I apologize. I lost connection. Could you say that
That's okay.
again?
On Tuesday, starting Tuesday, July 12th, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be hosting the book slam on Clubhouse. I'll be hosting once a month, and we are kicking off with our very own trivia. The CEO of Trivia's Inspirational Radio will be one of the guests. We are going to be celebrating Black women authors. And I have 10 amazing women who are going to come, and they're going to share their story. They're going to read excerpts from their books, and we're going to give them some feedback, and it is going to be hot, hot, hot. It's a hot ticket. It happens every Tuesday. I'll be hosting once a month. So Crystal, I would like to invite you to be on the lineup for August. So
Oh,
we're
wow. I'd be
we're
happy to
thrilled
join.
for
I love.
I would love to invite you to come on, and you'll get about 7 to 10 minutes to read an excerpt, and then we'll give you some feedback. And I want you to tell us how we can find you. So reach out to me so I can put you on the calendar and get you on there, because I can only do 10 at a time. But I'll be doing this once a month. So if I don't get you in July, I get you in August. If I don't get you in August, then we can go to September. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. So we have about a minute before we log off out of here. So Crystal, tell our viewers where they can reach you and how they can purchase your book.
Yes. So my name again is Crystal Mungle. If you're on Instagram, please follow me at Crystal M underscore the author. I'm also on Facebook. Again, my name would be Crystal Mungle, there will be some show notes, I assume, or some notes if you guys want to confirm the spelling. That's Moungle. You can purchase my first book, Speak Up, on Amazon or on my author website, which is at author Crystal Simone. If you enjoyed that excerpt from my second book, What I Meant to Say, pre-order is currently available. That book will be officially released in August of 2020. Well, this year, 2022. It'll be released in August, so next month. Bless you. But yeah, if you want to, see what my process is like as a writer, and just have some fun with me, yeah, feel free to follow me on Instagram or Facebook. And yeah, just really hope you guys enjoyed those excerpts and the entire interview. I had a minus life was lifing during this interview, but we pushed through and made it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Crystal. Life happens. And so, again, I'm LaQuita Parks. I'm your host. It has been a plump, pleasing pleasure, better than a triple decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Until next time, be good. Let us know how we can help you and help somebody make a difference in their life. Until next time.
Allow us at Eddie B Productions to capture, create, and celebrate all of your greatest moments. Let us turn your joy into memories that will last forever. As we remember our beloved Eddie Blick Jr., the very reason we do it all, we aim to put a smile on your face and also your heart. Whether a birthday party, wedding planning, organizing an event, or photography, we can service all your needs. You can follow us on Instagram at Eddie B Productions, email us at eddieb_productions93@outlook.com, or call us at 410-303-0101 for all your event planning, decoration, fun, and photography needs. We look forward to working with you.